question number 6. So question number 6 wants us to determine the nature of the roots. Alright, so this is similar to what we did for question 5. Okay, so we're going to be trying to find that discriminant. Okay, so the discriminant can be calculated utilizing the formula b squared minus 4ac. Well, your discriminant tells you a few things. Okay, so if you calculate your discriminant and your answer is greater than 0, and all numbers that are greater than 0 are positive numbers, alright, that means you have 2 real roots. If you calculate your discriminant and it's equal to 0, so again, if it's 0, then you will have 1 repeated real root, alright? And if your discriminant value is less than 0, so if your answer for this is less than 0, all numbers that are less than 0 are negative numbers, okay? That means you have 0 real roots, okay? So let's go ahead and calculate the discriminant for each of these questions, okay? I'm going to try to write it down here at the bottom just so that you guys can see it for each question, okay? So again, we're using that formula, b squared minus 4ac. A lot of times I'll set it up like parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses parentheses. Alright? So now we're going to go ahead and plug in our A, B's, and C's. And you're probably wondering, what are these A, B's, and C's that I'm talking about? Well, in front of your x squared is technically a negative 1, and that's your A. Alright? The 16 is your B. Alright? And in this case, we have no C value, right? But if you don't have something, so if you have none of something, that means you have 0 of it, okay? So your C, that technically should be right here, right, is not there, so that means your C is 0, okay? So we're going to go ahead and plug in our A, B, and C. So my B is 16, my A is negative 1, and my C, I don't have a C, so that means the C is 0. Alright? Again, this 0 is not your C. I repeat, this 0 right here is not your C. Okay? We don't have a C, so our C is missing. Alright? So that's why we replace something that's missing with a 0. Okay? So now I'm going to calculate, okay? So 16 squared is 16 times 16, which is 256, right? Negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. Positive 4 times 0 is 0, all right? And you cannot add or subtract 0, so my answer is 256, all right? So now I need to answer each of these areas, okay? So first things first, we know that 256 is a positive number, and what does that mean? If I'm greater than 0, that means I have 2 real roots. So again, 2 real roots. Okay? So let's use that to answer these questions. Okay? First things first, we know that it is real. Okay? So the area that says it's imaginary would be wrong. Okay, so now we're going to see if it's equal or unequal. When it's saying it's equal or unequal, it's asking, is it equal to 0 or is it unequal to 0? Alright, is it equal to 0 our answer? No, so it is not equal. So even though it's real, it is not equal. So this one is out. Okay. So now we're here, it's in between these two. So I need to figure out if it's, so again, it's real, it's not equal to 0, so it's unequal. Now I need to figure out if it's rational or irrational. An irrational number is a number that does not have a square root. A rational number is a number that does have a square root. Okay? So in this case, you will try to square root 256. So in your calculator, you would plug in the square root of 256, and you would get that that is 16. Because it does have a square root, that means it is not irrational, it is rational. So again, because it has a square root, it's not irrational, it's rational. Alright? So again, if it does have a square root, rational. If it does not have a single number, if this was a decimal, then it would be irrational. Okay? So this is my answer. This is wrong because it's irrational. Alright? So again, notes that you can put: irrational is a decimal answer. Alright? Rational, no decimal. Alright? I don't know if that will help, but maybe that will be helpful. Alright? So let's try it for the next question. Okay, so I'm using my same b squared minus 4ac. So I write it like parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses parentheses. Alright, so when I try to plug in my a, b, and c, are all my a, b, and c's there? Yes. So this is my a, this is my b, this is my c. Alright, so I'm going to plug in my b, which is 80. Plug in my A, which is 5, plug in my C, which is 320. So I'm going to use my calculator for this because I'm seeing a lot of numbers that I don't know what they are when I multiply them. Alright, 80 squared is 6,400. So again, 80 squared is 80 times 80. So 6,400. Okay. Now I'm going to multiply negative 4 times 5, that is negative 20. Negative 20 times 320 will give me negative 6,400. You can put that in your calculator if you would like. Alright, so again, negative 4 times 5, negative 20, multiplied by 320, negative 6,400. Alright? So 6,400 minus 6,400 is 0. Alright? So now we're going to answer the question, or rather try to figure out what this 0 means. Is 0 greater than 0? No. So it's not positive, it's not two real roots. Is 0 equal to 0? Yes. So that means it has one repeated real root. Okay? So let's answer these questions. First things first, is it real or is it imaginary? It's real. So the imaginary one is gone. Okay? Now we're going to figure out if it's equal to 0 or if it's unequal to 0. Is 0 equal to 0? Yes. So because it's real and it's equal, and this is the only one that says equal, this would be my answer. This is wrong because it says unequal. This is wrong because it says unequal. Alright? And that is it. Okay? So now let's do the last one. Okay? So again, I set up parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses parentheses. Okay? And then we're going to plug in our A, B, and C. In front of my x squared is a 1. That's your A. Your B is 12. Your C is 70. Alright? So I'm going to plug in my B, which is negative 12. So not just 12, negative 12. Alright? Your A is 1. And your C is 70. So now I'm going to calculate. Negative 12 squared is negative 12 times negative 12, which is positive 144. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times 70 is negative 280. You can put that in your calculator if you would like. Negative 4 times 70. Alright? So 144 minus 280 should give me negative 132. Alright? Or, sorry, negative 136. Okay? So again, you can put on your calculator to check. Alright? Negative 136. Okay? So that's our result for a discriminant. So I need to write what does that mean. So again, that's a negative number, all right? And whenever it's a negative number, that means it's less than 0, all right? And being less than 0 means you have 0 real roots, all right? That means you have no real roots. And if it's not real, so again, I have no reals, so that means it's imaginary, all right? So in this case, it's not that it's fake, but in this case, fake is being replaced with the word imaginary, all right? So again, it would be imaginary, all right? So let's answer these questions. First, you're going to decipher, is it real or is it imaginary? It's imaginary. So this would be my answer, all right? All of these are wrong because it says it's real, all right? And that is it.